people had worked ahead.
You told us to.
I'm sorry?
You told us to.
Oh, did I? Oh, good. Well, you guys are, you know, I hope you guys get all this stuff out of the way, and the rest of the semester is you're just coasting and listening and having, you know, and having some fun. Okay, so. Okay, so I'm looking at you, this is the quote you came up with. Moreover, government officials are concerned about the consequences of placing a large number of additional homes on the market, thus generating a death spiral of lower prices, which would result in more borrowers with negative equity. These borrowers would be more likely to default, go into foreclosure, and be added to the housing supply, which in turn would force prices still lower. There is no period, so there's no hard break. Okay, so that quote is literally all one thought. In what you wrote is public officials are concerned that by placing more homes on the market, a death spiral would occur in which housing costs would decrease, period. This death spiral would result in greater rates of negative. So my confusion comes in is that while I can look back at what you paraphrased, or the original quote, and see, oh yes, it does emanate from the original, from the same author.
Yeah.
I wouldn't see that in your final paper because I don't have the direct quotes. You're not going to be doing direct quotes.
But I'm kind of confused. So we have the direct quote.
Correct.
And we are citing the direct quote per the template for this.
Right,
document.
right.
And then
So let me look about that idea of the other thing.
Yeah, so then I'm paraphrasing it and
Right.
citing it.
See,
So you know that
I
it's-
see that. I guess what I was looking toward is, well, if you put that in your final paper, would I know that you're not, one is your original thought and one is something you're using to
Well, I'm
support?
citing it though. So
And you
in the
know that
paper
it's
she
something
would
that-
cite it after the first mention.
Right. Well,
This is in the template.
well, see that,
which is
see,
the issue.
so, yeah, see, from your paper, from a paper standpoint, if I were reading that, I might think that's your original thought, and then you're using this second statement as your backup for your original thought.
Right. I guess, so it
You
all
s-
comes down to where the citation goes.
Correct,
And in the paper, I would obviously put it up for the first.
correct, okay,
Okay.
okay.
I think we're on the same page.
Okay, good. I just want to make
Yeah.
sure, okay? And that's why I was making that. I could see, yes, this is all from this one quote,
Yeah.
but I wanted to be clear that in your final paper, I'm not going to see that original quote. So, and I'm not going to go hunting for it, trust me,
No, of course not.
because why would I? And let me just double check that for sure, just so I'm not confusing
Okay.
anybody,
Sorry to
okay?
like kick over.
No, and this is, let me tell you something. I have just as much to learn as you guys do, okay? I stand up here and yes, I have the ability to lecture you and to tell you what I believe is to be the case and whatever it is. But the other side of the coin is, I have just as much to learn from you guys too. I look at your life experiences, which are different than mine. Well, you know, I grew up in Royal, no, I'm just joking. So, when you come to me and you have a comment, and I know this is not common on every professor, but if you have come to me and you have a question and you think that and you want to challenge me, I respect that more, because really what that's telling me is, wow, you're really thinking about this. You are really, you know, this is something that you have a passion about or something that you're concerned about. That will make me go back and say, oh, you know what, I was wrong about that. Or, you know, so I don't want you, you know, I want to be really clear here. You can challenge me. I mean, you need to challenge me in a way that's respectful or whatever it is, but I want to make sure that your opinion is coming out, okay? Because in the end, when you go to write stuff for your work, you probably are not going to be using this APA format as strictly as you might in a thesis paper or something like that. Because who has the time to sit there and do it? It takes a lot of time to rework your brain to have to write that way, okay? So I just, you know, this is for future knowledge, you know, when you have to get your doctorate, or you decide to go and get your doctorate, or you decide to do something else, or whatever it is, that you just have an understanding of what this stuff does, okay? That's my opinion about it here. You know, if I was your thesis advisor, I would have a different viewpoint of it, and I would be an expert in APA. But I am not an expert in APA, and I grade on it in terms of, is it taking away from your paper, or is it adding to your paper, okay? If it's so taking away from your paper, I might mark you down. But nothing that I've seen here in anybody's notes has really taken away from their paper, okay? Yes?
Do you have a specific rubric for the paper itself? Because I saw that it's worth 100, but I didn't see how it was broken down.
No, I don't. I don't grade on rubrics. Okay.
Okay, let's go.
As I said,
Okay.
let's put it this way. I'm a lot different than most of the professors here. Okay. I don't grade on a rubric. I'm looking to see, wow, can you construct a grammatical sentence, one? Can you, are you conveying information to me in an interesting way that is compelling enough for me to want to read? Are you citing things appropriately? And that doesn't mean is the period, and you know, it's like, I don't think I use one page number in my thesis of over 150 pages. I don't have one page number in the citation. But I see page numbers all the time. And I tell people, take them out. And they like, well, our other professor told us to do this. And you know what? If you feel more comfortable with that, I'm not grading you down because you put it in. But for me, I don't care. I don't even require a running header. Everybody requires a running header. I don't have to do a running header for you guys don't have to do running headers. They're a pain in the butt. Do they really? Pardon?
Thank you.
Do they add anything to your paper?
No.
No, they're not, okay? But that's not to say that when you go to the next professor, that other professor is not going to be a stickler for that stuff, okay? I'm not the other professor, okay? My thought process on how I like to conduct my class is for us all to have a common understanding of what's going on, for us all to have an enjoyment in what we're learning, to all be able to laugh about the stupid stuff we're actually learning, like theory. Oh, I love theory. I like to throw it out the window. And you know why I like to throw it out the window? Because when was the last time you went up to a colleague and said, oh, you know, the Maslow theory on HR is blah, 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 blah. I guarantee you didn't, right? When do you ever speak about that stuff? You never do. So I don't really emphasize theory because I guess you should understand that there's a theory behind this and that it's important to understand it and it's a basis for how you might formulate information, but is it something you're really going to use in the outside world? I'll tell you, I went to UC Berkeley for my undergraduate. And the thing I learned in the 3 years that I was there, I went to Santa Barbara for my first year. In the 3 years that I was there, I learned how not to stand in line. I said